last thing I just want to talk about is junk mail. So things that you
Mm-hmm.
have in here. So an email message like that we have here from Ion or Ian.
I
Sorry, it's a inside joke with me and Kaylee. So messages that have been determined to be junk, it's just going to drop them in the junk folder. And this is where maybe you're like, okay, well, I want to have that junk folder here too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you notice, it has a 1 here. So if I right click on this message and I say mark as, let's see here. Come on. Why is it not?
Must just be doing it just because there's one in there. Not
Yeah,
even
but
saying
it's
it
not
like
giving
it's.
me the view option here.
That was interesting.
It should only show you based on read and unread. Oh, no, I guess it just throws you. It's doing it based on just total number of messages in there. Okay.
That's
Oh, I
interesting.
stand corrected.
That's not like how it is on mine.
Yeah, no, it does it based on that. Let me drop that in. See if it jumps the tube. No, it does. Yeah, look at that. Okay. Well, I stand corrected. So
Interesting.
this number is based on total of messages in your junk folder.
Yeah.
I like it with, like for us, the way that it works in the Windows side is it's based on how many unread messages there are. So that way, if anything new shows up, then the number will show up. And if there isn't anything in there, then you know you don't have any new junk mail. But you'll
Right.
just have to remember the number that it has.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe we'll try to find a way around that.
Yeah, if we do, we'll try to
Make
put
a
that in
video
there.
on how to change that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Different characteristics. It's really funny how the differences between the Mac and the Windows.
So little sometimes.
Yeah, there's just little differences. But you know what? This could drive a Windows user freaking nuts. When they come over there, they're like, what? How do you change that? And that's things that they seem very simple, but they can be a little bit of a molehill, but it could seem like a mountain to some people when you add up a few of the little differences that are going from there. It is not the same product. It has the same name. It's developed by the same people, but it is not the same product.
Yeah, I say, like, think about if you have a keyboard and you just switch just 2 letters. But that's going to mess you up so much because you're so used to typing the way that it was, right? So now all of a sudden your J's or your K's, you know, and it just it will mess with your head a little bit, even if it's just a slight little difference. I think that's really interesting.
Yep, you're right about that. So when you right click on all the folders, you have these kind of options where you can go to storage, you can have permissions. These are things where you could like specifically give people access to specific folders that you have in here by adding them and picking what type of capabilities they have to those respective folders. And we'll cover showing you how you can get access to that. Under the junk folder section, when you right click on the email message, you can say mark not as junk. It won't move it out of your inbox. At least I don't think it doesn't do that on Windows. It does.
Wow.
It does it on Mac. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Mind blown.
Wow. Okay, so when you mark it not as junk, it removes it.
It moved it out. It doesn't do that on the Windows side. On the Windows side, if you're on your inbox, right, and I go, let's say I go to my inbox here, and I'm like, okay, this movie thing is junk, and I right click and I say, block the sender, and I do it, it will grab it and it'll move it out of my. It doesn't. It's the opposite.
They're flipped. That's so weird. Okay. Wow.
Okay, it did it that time. It must not have registered my click. Okay, it did. It did. Oh my! I was about to get my mind blown. Okay, so it moves it both ways, which is huge. You know.
That is very helpful because that's a strange thing that Windows doesn't do. At least in my opinion, I don't get why it doesn't take it out.
Yeah, it is super annoying. Like if I go in and I find something, I say it's not junk, and it goes, got it, and you're
okay, we'll keep it in there though.
And you're like, I gotta drag it back out, and you're like, it's like, yeah, dude, you screwed up and put it there in the first place. So like, I didn't do that. You know, you did that on your own.
Okay, so that's really interesting. So
Yeah.
that feature is super, like that button is more helpful with Mac users.
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. This is very, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that is.
I'm trying to see where you get the junk mail, where you get the settings. We'll have to circle back around. I'm not seeing where I
Yeah,
can
I
get
was
the
wondering that
list
same thing.
of where, because in Windows when I right click, I have the option to see who's there under the junk options. You have like a junk
Yeah,
properties where I can change things, but I'm not
right, the
seeing that here.
properties. Yeah, that's interesting. It
Hmm.
just says this is what you get
Yeah,
kind of thing.
market junk. Don't market
Well,
junk.
because while you were gone for a second, I was laying out the junk mail and how sometimes I'll have issues with people saying that they didn't receive my email from MailChimp because it got sent to their junk.
Hmm.
And I was wondering if you click mark as not junk on one of those emails, will they continue to send that same email there?
Not supposed to, but
They're not supposed to, but sometimes it
there
goes
are
through.
some other aspects that are kicking in to the security of it. Advanced threat protection from Microsoft is a additional security spam verification process. It's like its own engine that sits and hovers above your Outlook. So as it comes through Exchange, it's almost like a car wash in when I say Exchange, it's like when it goes through Office 365, that would be a better
Right,
term. When it goes
right.
through Microsoft Office 365, your mail, as someone sends it to you, it hits Microsoft's cloud, right? It kind of goes through a car wash to verify if they're files. It moves them over to a detonation chamber and actually tries to execute those files to see if there's
Hmm.
viruses or things that could get you. And those advanced threat protection are licenses that they have to have, and we work with our clients to make sure they have the correct licenses. But all of that's happening, and if it sees anything that concerns itself, advanced threat protection, it will kick it to the junk folder automatically. That's independent of Outlook's intelligence. So
Hmm.
then when it hits Outlook, Outlook has some additional, very limited intelligence, and it will move things to junk if it feels is appropriate. These are supposed to work in harmony so that when you say, hey, look, this is not junk, it is junk, but I've seen it where it does not. So even though advanced threat protection feels that everything coming from this person is legitimate spam, no matter how many times you mark it, sometimes I've seen it where it still goes. In that situation, just create a ticket with us, and we can go into advanced threat protection and whitelist those specific users or that
Hmm.
specific domain so that you don't have that problem anymore.
Okay.
Um, that Microsoft's improving that in Ignite. They did mention that, which Ignite is happening right now, which is Microsoft's big conference that they have, and they're announcing some new changes in that area. So
Wow.
they actually changed the name of Advanced Threat Protection to something different. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but so they're always changing and evolving it. And I have a feeling this is one of the areas that people have been complaining about how there hasn't been such harmony between that, and
Yeah.
it needs to improve. But it
Yeah.
is nice that you don't have kind of that car wash method of outside of Microsoft 365. What a lot of times people have is they'll have like another product that will do specific spam blocking for you, and it sits outside of 365, and it's got to go through that car wash first before it hits your Microsoft 365. And if it sees something that it doesn't like, it moves it to its own quarantine, like web folder that you
Hmm.
don't even see in your Outlook, and you got to go browse a web page to see what's in that quarantine. And it's super annoying for people because then they have to look in two different specific spots. Is it my junk or is it in that
Yeah.
quarantine folder? And you don't have that problem if you use advanced threat protection for your spam filtering and stuff because it's either in your junk folder or it's not.
Yeah.
Pretty much it.
Right.
So.
Really interesting.
So that's I think that's where we're going to stop today. We're going to pick up talking about some specific shortcuts that are capable in there, like which I really like this feature. You have it in Windows as well.
Hmm.
But if I go to home here, some of these features like meeting, attachments, that's a really cool shortcut that I'd love to show you
Hmm.
guys in our next webinar. It talks about how you can do things like that. Plus, we're going to talk about creating new emails. We're going to be talking about doing encryption. We're going to be talking about how you can leverage all that from the Outlook client on the Mac side. You have that functionality just like you do in Windows, but it's a little bit different.